Hey there, super friends. It's Joey with Last Point Gaming. Today is Friday, June 14th, 2019. I'm going completely mic-less today because there's still some audio issues on Wednesday, and so I want to see if going without the mic helps at all. So I do apologize if either the audio quality is shit now or degrades to be so later. Also coming from the mothership today, so there's going to be a lot of time on the highway, so yeah, just be prepared. This episode may kind of fall apart. Sorry about that. Would be a great analogy for my week, though. God, the bottom really fell out of this one. But that's alright. We're just gonna keep on keeping on, because what else are you gonna do, really? You know? Don't really have many other options. Alright, so let's see here. We talked about the additions to the MPL and invitations to the MC. And man, I hate talking about this topic, I really do. But we did get a little into the challenges that women face in gaming. And again, I really hate talking about it, but my opinion on it has kind of changed over time. Because sometimes I forget that I have the privilege, I guess, good fortune, of having a really good local community. So I'm, for lack of a better way to put it, just kind of one of the guys. And that's never really bothered me. But I also come from a different era. And I mean, I don't know. I guess when I found my first gaming group, I was just happy to have somebody accept me for whatever they accepted me for. And it didn't really matter. They could have accepted me as one of the cats, and I would have been like, yeah, sure, no, I'll totally be a cat. It's cool. So and then over the years, as things have gotten better, and I have this great local community, it's still never bothered me to be seen as one of the quote-unquote guys. Even though, it is observed that I'm not, in fact, male. But, I don't know. It's a weird thing. But yeah, traveling to events can... Oh, is that... I didn't run it over. Traveling to events can definitely be hard for women. Especially, you go back, it might have been last year, or hell, at this point, it may have even been the year before. Todd Anderson wrote an article that was his origin story. It was a really good article. I live for shit like that. I like the flashback series on SCG. God, do I love that shit. Just, I don't know, things that make you feel more connected to these people from the internet, I guess. God, maybe that's sad. Maybe that's not something I should be admitting. But, oh well, it's already out there. But he talks about, the first Pro Tour he went to, and he, he got his travel award, and he gets off the plane in Honolulu. I think it was in Hawaii. I'm, relatively certain. But yeah, he gets off the plane, and he's like, alright, now what? He's got a backpack and a dream. And he happens, if I recall correctly, again, it's been a while, but I think he ran into somebody, in or around the airport that he somehow identified as a fellow Magic player, and asked if he could crash with them because he didn't have anything set up for himself. And as a male in the Magic arena, this is statistically safer for him to do than it would be for a non-male. And don't get me wrong, that still could have ended poorly for him, and good thing it didn't. I like Todd. That's pretty cool and shit. But it is statistically more likely for that kind of scenario to end up going very poorly for like a woman. And the sad thing is women, speaking as one, we're from a young age, we're taught to make sure that the predator targets somebody else. Because that's really what it is. The whole, like, oh, don't leave your drink unattended, and don't drink too much, and watch how you dress. It's not... It doesn't mitigate the threat a predator presents to the world. It's just making sure he doesn't... Sorry. They don't decide that you are the weakest of the gazelle and easiest to pick off the pack. And in addition to that, it's also kind of beaten into us that, like, if you fail to follow these guidelines to make sure you are not the most desirable target or the easiest looking target, and you become targeted, well, it's your own damn fault, right? You drank too much. The way you were dressed, you asked some random male Magic player, because that's the demographic you're more likely to run into, if you could, go off with him somewhere out of the public. I mean, the victim blaming starts young for girls. You look at it now with, like, when abuse cases come up and, things come out about it, it's like, why didn't she just leave? You clearly don't understand the dynamic of abuse. Like, that it doesn't start that way. It's not like you go on the first date and he, like, punches you in the face to see how you can take it. It's a cycle. And again, I use he there, and especially when it comes to a topic such as domestic violence, men are not exempt from being victims of domestic violence or sexual assault, but they are statistically less likely. Though, as far as the domestic violence thing, I don't know. I don't think a lot of men report that. Because they then, their masculinity is called into question, especially if they are hetero and this abuse happened at the hands of a woman. It's like, wow, she really overpowered you there, huh, Chief? So, I don't know. It's all kind of a mess. Victim blaming is incredibly prevalent. So, yes, there are certain barriers for women that are more prevalent than they are for the average male Magic player. That being said, people who come from economically disadvantaged areas, they're also at a massive disadvantage. Grinding events is not cheap for anybody. But when you're part of a demographic that is, statistically speaking, more likely to be underpaid or underemployed, and you come from economic disadvantage, I mean, especially, look at this country with college. Dude, my 2-year associate's degree from community college cost me So, yeah, all these things kind of add up. So, as far as discretionary invite slots, I don't think it's the worst thing ever. I think they are trying to correct, and okay, maybe they're being a little heavy-handed about it, but I think they're, trying to correct the lack of diversity you see in the top. And nobody wants to be the person that got something handed to them. Especially women in the gaming community or non-male players in the gaming community. Because you know how that looks. I mean, I get it. I do. As a woman in the IT industry, I had meeting, I think it was the week before last, where, like, I felt really uncomfortable asking for what I was asking for. And really all I was asking for was some guidance. You know, I'm not getting it from the people that I'm supposed to be getting it from. And so my career seems kind of stuck. And I just want somebody to give me a direction. But, you know, like, I up-jumped the chain of command by several people, but it was somebody I had a, you know, decent rapport with and everything. And that's why I reached out to have a meeting. And I even felt the need to explain to them in this meeting that, like, I'm not looking for something to be handed to me. I'm not looking for somebody to hold my hand. But I'm having trouble finding, you know, where the path is. And I'm not getting the direction I need from any of these other resources I'm supposed to turn to. I've tried. And so, you know, I'm turning to you to kind of try to preserve my company or my career with this specific company, because if I can't find a way to move my career here, then I'm going to look to move my career somewhere else. You know, that's just how it is. If I feel stunted and stuck where I'm at, and nobody wants to, you know, because the thing is I need, the only way I can get anywhere in there is for people to stand for me. Like, I don't really get the face time and the opportunity to represent myself. So if the people around me who are supposed to be doing these things aren't going to do it, well, then I need to find a different approach, or I need to just leave. And that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I got a lot of applications out there, because, not to get into that. But looking at this, because, again, I don't really care about competing at that level in Magic. I don't. It's not a thing I aspire to. I enjoy my local community. You know, I enjoy the friends I have there. I enjoy the social interaction aspect of it. There's a speed trap ahead. I mean, okay, speed, so it's cool. And yeah, I enjoy even extending that, you know, community and companionship with my locals to us driving down to Baltimore or out to Philly or, you know, DC or whatever, and, you know, experiencing the broader Magic community. But I never go to an open with the, like, yeah, I'm really going to try today too. I'm still trying for the positive win record. Now, I kind of achieved that in Baltimore, because when our team dropped, I was 3-2. Our team was 2-3. But no, I want to get to, like, the end of day one in an open and be 5-4. Instead of, you know, 3-6. That, right now, is my current goal. So, to identify with, you know, these barriers to higher competition and everything, when I look at it that way, it's a little hard for me to understand, just because it's not something I want. It's not something I care about. But if I apply this to the struggle that I'm facing in my current career, okay, now I can understand a little better, because that is something I want. Now, I'm not going to say that my troubles with my career are because of my gender, until I have hard evidence to confirm that. But there's a problem and I need to fix it, but I'm also really hesitant to ask for any kind of help, because as a woman in a male-dominated career field, the last thing you want is to look like a damsel. I don't want to look like somebody that's like, yeah, I don't want to do the things I need to do. I want somebody to do it for me. And again, even somebody that I have a good rapport with and everything, I felt the need to express this, that, like, look, not looking for, you know, somebody to put it on easy mode, but right now, I can't even get the damn game started. So think there's any woman in the Magic arena that wants to be handed an MC invite because she is not male. Because, like, oh yeah, we need, to hit a certain diversity ratio. And the problem is, sometimes programs like this build some resentment, and I'm already seeing it, and I think people need to adjust their view a little bit, but can't really depend on that happening. But it tends to breed some resentment of, like, people seeing it as, well, she's just being handed that because she's a woman. And it negates, like, people like Emma Handy and Catlight and Jess Estefan and I'm trying to think of a few others off the top of my head, but of course my brain has gone a-wandering, that have, busted their asses and worked the grind and, found a way to make it work and fought that fight. Once sometimes actions like this shift people's view, that cause them to then look at those women and say, oh, well, you just got there because somebody did it for you. It's like the one woman who got invited to the Mythic Invitational, who qualified through Arena. I guess she is connected to some major male player. And then there were those that were dogging on her that she didn't do it, he did it for her. And it's a shitty way to look at things. And the assumption to delegitimize her like that, it's just shitty. Like, I don't have any other way to say it. So, as a woman, it's like a bittersweet compensation, I guess. The, like, okay, well, we're, I guess, as an underrepresented demographic. Because it's not just women. It's people of color, it's non-binary, sexuality plays into it. But, it's like, yeah, okay, cool, you're trying to promote this and give these underrepresented people a chance that have maybe additional barriers that people aren't aware of. But at the same time, it's hard to get up on that stage and accept it. Like, I feel for Jess Estefan. I'm sure there was a lot of shit said when she was offered and accepted an MPL contract. And it's bullshit, really, because again, I went over all that, like, she's in fucking Australia, yo. Like, that's a whole other level of disadvantage. And okay, yeah, there are plenty of male players in Australia too. Okay, yeah, that's great and all, but they are striving for some diversity. And okay, yeah, I'm not going to pretend that it's some benevolent act by WotC. It's to sell cards to more demographics. I truly believe it. It's hard to sell the dream of, being a Mythic champion and MPL player to non-male players when they look at the MPL and Mythic champions and all they see is males. It's a lot easier to sell that dream when you have somebody that everybody can identify with. So, no, I don't think they're doing it for some kind of benevolent reason. I truly think it's a marketing thing. But they did, it's not like they just picked some random, player. They picked a woman who has managed to build a very decent, hell, I'll say it, a very good competitive Magic resume facing the barriers of being a woman in that arena and also being in a country that, costs $1 million to get out of, to, like, go anywhere else to play in events. So, yeah, I mean, that's, again, I really hate doing the whole women in Magic thing, but it, keeps coming up. And I think in the past, like, even now, I only kind of logically understand these barriers because I don't really face them, because, again, I have a really great local community, and in addition to that, I don't want to play at the super high competitive level. Like, it's just not something I'm into. So, because of these things, these barriers are, again, they're logical. Like, I can understand on an intellectual sense, but I don't really personally see them. But you don't know the door's locked until you try it, so if you're not interested in entering that room, you'll never know that the door's locked. So that's where that's at, and hopefully this is the last I talk about this one for a while. What else has happened? Oh god, they really need to change how this fucking ramp works. Alright. Well, at least it didn't shut down both lanes this time. It's just like super shitty ramp to get off the highway, and it's probably once every other week there's an accident. And luckily, usually people are moving a little slow through here, so they're, fender bendery, maybe a little more property damage, but rarely seems that anybody gets hurt. So, I know I seem callous about it, but anyway, I feel like there was more I was going to talk about today, and it's been a shitty week, friends. It really has. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Hey, it's time to get out of software development altogether and go back to networking. I was really good at that. Fun fact, I only decided to, when I went back to school, pursue something IT related other than networking, because that's what husband did with the military, and that is in fact what he does in his civilian job. And I felt no good could come from us competing in the same job market. But I'm also really good at what I do now. It's just, I don't know. I don't mind building an argument, so to speak, like documenting I checked these boxes, I did these things, but like, I just don't have it in me to be like hard ass about shit and like be aggressive and hassle people and constantly harass people. And that seems to be like the only way you get anywhere with this company. It's just like get in people's faces, and like it's not something I'm interested in doing. I don't know. I do have an ally that has sprung up, and I think that's where all the discontent started. Is like I just kind of accepted that I was less, and then I started working with this other team and like had people treat me like an equal and value what I do and value my skill set. And I'm like, holy shit, it's nice. But whatever. Y'all don't tune in to hear shit like that. There was Modern Horizons. There's some cards in there. I'm almost home, so I don't really want to get too far into something, but on Monday, I'll try to talk a little more about my thoughts on the Modern Horizons set, I guess. Mostly how it pertains to humans, because that is the modern deck I play. That is the one modern deck I play, and I will continue to play until they pry it from my cold dead hands. His husband. So, Sorry, this one kind of fell apart right here at the very end, but the rest of the episode was okay, right? Like, cut me a little slack there, maybe? Just a little bit? Anyway, I'm pulling into daycare to pick up my kids, because husband's not home yet. So, as always, if you made it this far with me, thank you very much for listening. And hopefully I'll get to talk to y'all on Monday, and hopefully the audio quality on this wasn't, like, super shit. I'll try to listen to it between now and Monday, so I can have an idea if this will work going forward, or I just need to do some research and buy a better mic. But thanks for listening. Talk to y'all later.